the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses, it is identical to someone smoking crack, right? So what happens when someone smokes crack? A lot of times when people do drugs, they are suffering because people, they don't just wake up and say, oh, I want to do some drugs today. I want to smoke crack. I want to do heroin. I want to try this. I want to try that. People, they don't just wake up and do drugs, right? A lot of times they are suffering emotionally, mentally, or financially, whatever, right? They're suffering one way or another when people resort to drugs. Normal people don't just wake up and do drugs. A lot of times they are suffering. I'm talking about people that are druggies. I'm talking about druggies. People that do drugs on a regular basis, right? They don't just wake up and do drugs on a regular basis, week after week, month after month, year after year. That's not normal. So people that resort to drugs on a regular basis, a lot of times they are suffering emotionally, mentally, or maybe even financially, right? That result to that outcome. So when it comes to the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses, you have to ask yourself, how in the year 2024, how is it that witnesses are addicted to this so-called drug, which is the which is the Jehovah's Witness organization? How is it that Jehovah's Witnesses are addicted to this organization when there is so many resources online that can just wake them up and help them to realize that, hey, you guys have been duped, you guys have been lied to. But yet, Jehovah's Witnesses are still, I guess you could say, metaphorically speaking, smoking this JW crack. This is smoking this crack, right? So what happens with a normal person that is addicted to drugs? Let's say, hypothetically speaking, they are suffering emotionally or mentally, right? And they resort to drugs. Now, technically, alcohol is a drug, technically, right? So is the hardcore drugs like heroin, crack. All that stuff is hardcore, right? A lot of times, like I said before, when people do hardcore drugs, there's a mental reason why they're doing it. They're either struggling emotionally or mentally, right? And they resort to drugs as a way to escape from their current problems. Well, by the way, guys, I made this video about, I think 8 to 10 months ago. I made a video with this similar title, right? But this is revised. I'm going to revise this video, and I might delete that video. But this is revised because a lot has changed in the last year when it comes to the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses. There has been a lot of new light. There has been a lot of new doctrines. Henceforth, why I'm making this video, right? But it pains me that Jehovah's Witnesses, they will still hold on to this organization, even though time after time, especially now, we see that this is not it. We see that this religion, they flip-flop from left to right, right to left, up and down, down and up. A lot of their doctrines doesn't make sense now. But just like druggies, just like alcoholics, when people resort to drugs and alcohol, a lot of times, once again, they are suffering emotionally or mentally, right? Or both. They're struggling in life. And they resort to alcohol or drugs that temporarily escape from their pain. And likewise, it is the same with the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, right, and you experience a loved one in death, you are suffering emotionally, mentally, with depression, suicidal thoughts, anxiety, at the end of the day, what do? You will metaphorically smoke this crack. And the crack is the Jehovah's Witness organization. The crack is the meetings. The crack is your prayer. The crack is you going out in service. The crack is you lying to yourself and telling yourself that paradise is right around the corner. That's the spiritual crack with Jehovah's Witnesses. They have to lie to themselves. They have to continuously lie to themselves. Paradise is right around the corner. I don't care what I experience in this world. I don't care about all my suffering. I don't care about my loved ones that die. All I know is that paradise is right around the corner and I'm going to be pain-free one day. But sad to say, Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't have facts that is actual proof. All they have is this fake faith. Jehovah's Witnesses have fake faith that what they believe in is proof. But they don't have any hardcore facts. So what do they have to do in the meantime? They have to keep going to the meetings. They have to keep going out in service. They have to keep praying. They have to keep hoping for something that is never going to happen. They have to keep suppressing their feelings in the meantime. Just like a druggie or an alcoholic, right? When they're suffering emotionally or mentally, what do? They turn to the bottle. They turn to that crack. They turn to the heroin because that drug temporarily suppresses their pain. Temporarily. It is the same with a Jehovah's Witness. It is the exact same with a Jehovah's Witness. When they go to the meetings, when they associate with other Jehovah's Witnesses, when they do their research, or when they go out in service, all this temporarily suppresses their anxiety, their pain, their depression, their suicidal thoughts. It's all temporarily. This organization is a drug because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what a Jehovah's Witness goes through. It doesn't matter. Any and everything that they go through, it could be they could experience a loved one in death. They could experience anxiety, depression, suicidal ideations. They could experience all that. But at the end of the day, here's their drug. Their drug is them convincing themselves, it doesn't matter what goes on in my life. Paradise is right around the corner. I have paradise to look forward to. Once they dwell on paradise, once they dwell on those thoughts of paradise earth, that is their temporarily drug that suppresses their pain. It calms their pain. It calms their sorrow. It calms their depression. It calms their suicidal ideation for the meantime. That is their drug. That is identical to an alcoholic drinking liquor. That is identical to a crackhead smoking crack. That is identical to that. Because when an alcoholic drinks, when a crackhead smokes their crack, their pain is suppressed. Their pain subsides. It goes away for the time being, right? Momentarily, it goes away. Their pain. It's the same thing with Jehovah's Witnesses. That is why mental health is big among Jehovah's Witnesses. It's big. A lot of Jehovah's Witnesses, they experience depression. They suffer with suicidal ideation. They suffer with anxiety. But when they go to the meetings, temporarily, they have to lie to themselves. They have to convince themselves that, hey, this meeting is good. This was a good meeting. I feel better. Meanwhile, they are hurting deep down inside. Because they are waiting for a paradise earth. They keep praying and waiting for a paradise earth that is never happening. They're hoping and praying and waiting. They're lying to themselves. Oh, it doesn't matter what it doesn't matter how much I suffer. I don't mind suffering in this world. I will suffer no matter what. I don't care if I lose my loved ones in death. I don't care if I suffer with anxiety. I don't care if I suffer with depression. I don't care if I suffer with suicidal ideations. I don't care, because I have a new system to look forward to. That new system, that hope, that false hope is their drug. It's temporarily. And that is why it's an ongoing situation. It's an ongoing feeling for Jehovah's Witnesses. At one time, they feel like, oh, I'm all right. I'm good. I pray to Jehovah. I feel all right. I feel okay. And then a few weeks or a few months later, they are back suffering with anxiety. They are back suffering with depression. They are back suffering with suicidal ideations, because what they believe in and what's going on in reality is two different things. Jehovah's Witnesses, they suffer with, what's the word? I forgot the word. Jeez, I forgot the word. Combative something. But yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses, they suffer with things that don't intertwine with each other, right? They have thoughts and ideas that don't intertwine with reality. And that is why that is why there are heaps of Jehovah's Witnesses that suffer with depression, suicidal ideations, anxiety. They suffer with all these mental illnesses. Because on one end, in their brains, they have to tell themselves, paradise is right around the corner. It's right around the corner. But when paradise doesn't happen, what then? How long can you keep telling yourself that paradise is right around the corner? You're getting older. Your life is slipping away little by little. Oh, sorry, the word that I was looking for, it just came to me. The word that I was looking for is cognitive dissonance, right? Sorry. The word that I was looking for is cognitive dissonance. That is what Jehovah's Witnesses struggle with. That is what they suffer with. Cognitive dissonance, right? It's when they think of something that isn't in harmony with their thoughts and actions. They may think one thing, but in reality, they know that something's not right. Something's not right. That is cognitive dissonance. And every Jehovah's Witness experiences that in one way or another, right? But that is how this organization is like a drug. Because just like any drug, alcohol, crack, heroin, whatever, PCP, whatever, all these drugs, what do? When people take drugs, it temporarily suppresses people's emotions and feelings. Temporarily. It takes away their pain temporarily. But when it comes to a Jehovah's Witness, can you honestly say that you could take away their pain? You can't take away their pain. You know why? Because the organization is causing their pain to begin with. The organization is telling these witnesses, paradise is right around the corner. And yet these witnesses are lying to themselves. Oh yes, I don't care. I don't care what I have to deal with in the system. I don't care if I lose my job. I don't care if I get that mental illness. I don't care if I'm suffering with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. I don't care if I get diabetes, cancer. I don't care about that. All I care about is the new system. Once I dwell on the new system, that's all that matters. That is their drug. That drug is their false hope. Once again, a Jehovah's Witness, when they think about paradise earth, when they think about the false paradise earth that's never going to happen, that is their drug that temporarily makes their pain go away. Temporarily, right? Their pain goes away for the time being. Meanwhile, the problems are still there. The problems will always be there. Because just because you lie to yourself and you tell yourself, paradise is right around the corner, doesn't mean your problems are going to go away. They're still going to be there, no matter what. That is why Jehovah's Witnesses, they have ongoing problems, because they're not fixing the root of the problem. What's the root? What is the root of the problem? The root of the problem is that they are lying to themselves because they are in a cult in which they have to lie to themselves and tell themselves, hey, paradise is right around the corner. When in reality, paradise is not around the corner. It's not around the corner. So imagine you have to continuously lie to yourself, telling yourself something that's never going to happen. Of course, your problems are always going to be there. They're always going to be there, no matter what. You shouldn't have to lie to yourself. But that is what happens with this cult. That is why this cult, this Watchtower, this JW.org, that is why it is a drug. It is a drug to Jehovah's Witnesses. Because they have to, just like crack, just like alcohol, people who do drugs for a reason, people who drink alcohol for a reason, a lot of times, 8 times out of 10, people are alcoholics or people are druggies because they are struggling and suffering internally, mentally and emotionally. They are suffering. So they take drugs, they take alcohol, they try to suppress their pain. They try to take away the pain. When in reality, it doesn't help. It doesn't help at all. It just prolongs the problem. Just like the Watchtower prolongs the problem for Jehovah's Witnesses, because Jehovah's Witnesses have to continuously lie to themselves. Paradise is right around the corner. And what happens? What happens when you keep lying to yourself? 20, 30, 40, 50 years goes by, and guess what? Your life is pretty much over. You're lying to yourself until the day that you die. So just like drugs, just like alcohol, just like crack, just like heroin, all that is not a problem. Sorry, it's a problem. But all that's not a solution. It's not a solution to the problem, right? Just like alcohol and hardcore drugs, it's not a solution to the problem. It's the same with Jehovah's Witnesses. That false hope about a paradise earth, yeah, it temporarily makes their pain go away, temporarily. But when paradise doesn't happen, and they wasted all these decades, all these Jehovah's Witnesses, they wasted their entire life, guess what happens? Their problems are still there to the day that they die. Is that a solution? That's not a solution at all. So if you are Jehovah's Witness watching this, right? Keep in mind, you will have to keep lying to yourself until the day that you die. That is not a solution to the problem. Like I said, witnesses are struggling emotionally, mentally, financially, because their leaders are lying to them. The leaders are lying to them. I encourage you to do your research. If you are a Jehovah's Witness watching the video, please do your research. Look at jwfacts.com. Look at the flip-flops that the governing body leaders are doing. They're saying one thing several years ago. Now they're saying something else. Don't let this organization be a drug. Don't lie to yourself to the day that you die. I love you guys all. I encourage anyone who is a witness. If you're on the fence, if you're having doubts, please do your research outside of jw.org. Do your research outside of them. If your leaders are telling you that they are not inspired by God, that is your answer. That means that you know something is up, and you know that you need to look outside of the realms of jw.org. Do your research. I am an apostate. I am an ex-JW. I love everybody. I love Jehovah's Witnesses. I love everybody on this planet. I try to mimic Jesus because Jesus loved everybody. Henceforth, I have to love everybody. I encourage everyone to see the good in everybody else too, right? Please do your research once again if you are a Jehovah's Witness. I love you guys, and I will see you on the next video.